Celeste, how you became a midwife, what kind of got you in that mindset in the beginning of your journey.
Yes, I can. So, how it all started was I was in conversation with another IBCLC. And what had happened, what prompted this conversation was I was working at a hospital in LA. It's actually St. John's Hospital in Santa Monica. I was there full-time IBCLC, which is International Board Certified Lactation Consultant. Um, and I was going to rooms, visiting with moms, hearing their birth stories. And then I would attend, especially the moms with who actually received a C-section. I noticed they were always upset and crying, like, my baby's so sleepy, won't breastfeed, and what's going on. And then, after, going from room to room to room, seeing all these stories and hearing kind of similar things and watching and looking at babies that are just really sleepy, I was like, this is really rough, because when I worked at WIC, um, as an IBCLC, it was different because you're seeing babies that are already at home and then they're being brought to WIC. So they're a little bit older. So, but when you see a newborn coming out of surgery, they're like, groggy and just very sleepy. So for me, that really kind of challenged me in a lot of ways, to work with both those mothers and help them to wake their babies up and get them trying to latch on when they're very sleepy after being drugged up. And then, I was like thinking and talking with, one of my other colleagues, and she mentioned something about midwives, and I'm like, midwives? And then I was like, I've never heard of that, because I had not heard of it. I have 3 kids of my own and never once even thought of a home birth or anything because I never heard of this. So education was one of the biggest things that I did. Was I went and did a research, and then once I went like, aha, there are people who do this. And then, I went down that rabbit hole. Yeah. And I always tell her, I always say it's because of that one conversation that just turned my mindset. I was thinking, I'm going to go become a nurse. Like, I'm going to just go ahead and become an RN. Mm-hmm. But when she mentioned midwives, and then what I was seeing was like kind of disheartening to me. Right. And I was like, there's got to be another way to do what we're doing here, because babies shouldn't be this exhausted to where they're not even ready to breastfeed, and we're here in the hospital, so we should be doing a little bit better. So what I did was I researched, and I found a school in San Diego called Najoni Institute of Midwifery, and in 2013 I enrolled and went for 3 years, and then found my preceptors, and worked at a birth center with Kate and Pothouse. She was my preceptor for the last part of my birth, process, because I did go through Ancient Paths with Lori Lighton. Karen Baker was a big teacher to me. I didn't get to precept under her, but she was one of my preceptors. If I look at it like one of my teachers, yeah, that I from, and she taught me a lot. And because she would have classes with all the student midwives, and we would just come and just sit up under her and gain wealth of knowledge and information from her. And those things helped. And then eventually I finished up and got my numbers, and then, the process of, studying for my boards came up, and ended up passing, and started my practice, and started off by myself, and just have kept it that way. Now I have a student, and I'm training her to become a midwife, and she's getting ready to start her primary roles, and Taylor Digby. And it's been lovely because it's nice to have her as a part of the team. And hopefully, once she passes her boards, she'll come and work with me. And that's what I want to offer her, that opportunity, so that she can feel more comfortable, because it is difficult when you come out of school and now you're standing alone as a midwife. You're like, whoa, wait, what do I do? So how do I, get my name out there? How do things, how do I get clients? And nobody prepares you for that part of it.
I know like due dates are just guest dates, but what's kind of your ideal number?
My ideal number. Woo. um, so I'm about at 3 to 4 a
Okay.
month. I think 4 is a little heavy. Sometimes, there's always a fifth person to come sliding in, and you're just like, oh, I can't say no.
Mhm.
So, but it's usually 3 to 4 I feel comfortable with.
Yeah.
Sometimes, I only get 2. And sometimes I just get 1,
Mm.
but I'm not really worried about numbers as much as like making sure that my client's comfortable with me and I'm comfortable with them. That's more my care is like that. That's what I like to focus more on than anything. So I mean, because let's say you do take 3 and then 2 people fall out because like one is high risk, or things happen throughout pregnancy that we don't see coming sometimes. When my kids were little, I was an at-home mom, and
Mhm.
I'm very adamant, like I talk about that all the time, like that was my ministry, that was my life, was my children, and seeing them be capable adults is one of the things that I was very determined, like, okay, I want you to be able to take care of yourselves. I don't want you guys to be like feeling like I didn't help you along the way. So yeah, I respect those midwives who are like, you know what, I need to come away from this, not all the way fully, but I need to put my children as the priority and not do so many births, and just slow it down so that I can spend some quality time, and do those
Mhm.
vacation times and have those moments with their kids so that they're not feeling neglected.
Yeah. Yeah. That's super important.
And but a lot of times I look at it like this: God just works it all the way out. Like
Oh, totally.
like like I'm having June off. Like, really? I have June off. So if someone were to call right now and ask me to do their birth in June, no, it's going to be no,
Yeah.
because now I'm already mentally already making plans already in that month and stuff like that. So the only people who could probably do that, swing it on me, would be a repeat,
There you go.
because repeats to me are like, they're like, it's like family coming back. It's like family
Mhm.
reunion. My biggest thing is like, it was never like, for me, of course, I wanted to work with Black and brown women all day, every day. And that's still my, any woman of ethnicity, that was my biggest goal, because of the health disparities that we have and that we do see. But I also am a believer that, God sends you the people that he wants you to have.
Mhm.
So I'm basically like, I interview people, just like I always tell them, you're not just interviewing me, but I'm interviewing you. And they're like, what? Like, what are you talking about, lady?
Yeah.
No, you mean you picking me? I said, yeah, I'm actually picking you, because when I first started off, I was like, I just need people, you know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
But everybody wasn't always, a good fit. So I decided, you know what, let me streamline this and look at what I need in a client. A client who's willing to take responsibility, a client who's excited about birth, a client who's low risk, those things that are on my list that I check, 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 check. And there is something about when you talk to a client and you go, man, I just feel like these are my people. Like
Mhm.
I like the energy, the vibe, the conversations. And basically what really makes it really wonderful for me is that I feel like they're family.
Yes.
Like, I feel like when we leave this, I will be forever tied to you, because you are my family. Like, I don't want it always to be about the mom. So I'm always like, can you bring your partner to this? Because I want to get to know him, because he's going to be a active role in the participation of your baby's birth probably more than I will be. You know what I mean? Like he's
Yeah.
gonna be there with you from day, the moment you go into that first contraction or birth wave, all the way till, he's possibly catching the baby. And so if he can attend some of our appointments, that's great. If he can only get to one or two of them, that's even fine too. But usually, typically, I like the family centered model.
Yeah.
And so I will honestly say, like, some of the dads have become like my brothers. I think that dad's role is very important. I think I even wrote a really good quote about it. I was very close. I love my dad. I mean, he's now deceased, but my mom passed away way before he did, and then so he became, part of it. And my dad was a big proponent for me, my brother and sister, and going to school, and you know what I mean, and becoming educated, and just taking good care of ourselves, being able to provide for ourselves, all those things. So I think I wrote a quote, and I'm like gonna look it up real quick. And this was at a home birth, where the dad was cutting the cord. And I said, when a dad cuts a cord, it is the father's emotional involvement with his baby. And this involves supporting the benefits of his participation and empowerment in childbirth, especially for home births. And that's really what I believe. Like, their role is so great. Like, when you have your partner just like, you can do this, like, you will keep going. You know what I mean? Like, his voice is calming to his baby. I think that's probably one of the things that I do like, is that I do have a connection with each of the dads, in a special way, and so that's what makes it easier in bringing the dad's role into it, because during the interview, I've connected with the mom and the dad.
Yeah.
And so then it just allows it to be even better. I feel like this work is a calling.
Yes.
And it's not something that you should think you're going to go in and be all wealthy, because it's not that type of, it's not that type of party. It's not a wealthy thing. You're doing it because you are called to be in this spot at this time of your life. You have a desire to make some changes that you see that can help, women, and you're called to walk with them and journey with them through this most amazing and wonderful time of their lives, because they will never forget the day they gave birth to their baby. Because that's, we celebrate birthdays because of that reason. We just never forget, like, the day that you came into my life,
Right.
And so I usually tell people, make sure that it's your calling, make sure that it's your timing, because timing is everything, knowing that, you know what I mean. And if it is your time, and you are like raising the small children, make sure you recognize that, your children are more important than this. Your children shouldn't suffer for this work that we're doing, because it is a lot of work. And then just making sure that that, because we can injure people just like anybody else, any other provider. And so that you're coming from a pure heart, that your heart is open to, as a provider, we're always growing and learning. Even as people, we learn and we make mistakes, and we deal with all those things and stuff like that. But as long as we're willing to grow, we're not the end all be all. We don't know everything. We are constantly, learning. And so I still have to improve on my skills, not just think I'm already arrived and stuff, because knowledge will kind of allow us to think we know everything, but like, our bodies are not like that. You know what I mean? I learn from every birthing body. Like, you think you just know something, and then it's like, well, that didn't work on that person. So there's got to be other things that you experience and learn something. But overall, it's it's preparing you to be the better provider. Ultimately, it is preparing you to be the best provider that you can be for who you are led to in their lives, because they get to select you, and it is an honor. It is an honor, and it is a lot of joy and fun to be a part of someone's journey when they make that decision, because it is a very big occasion for them to have their first child or have another child that they have been planning for. And so to journey with them and to get to that part of it, you're just like, okay, I definitely feel great and honored to be behind it, and that you're willing to trust me as your provider to do that.